Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri podcast. We got a great show today, but before I do that, I want to remind you I'm doing the United States tour. I'm starting on the East Coast and going to the Midwest. I'll be in Texas. I'll be in LA. I'll be all over. If you want to find out where, you just go to ChazzPalminteri.net. You can see my one-man show, A Bronx Tale. It was a hit on Broadway. It was voted best show in Las Vegas Strip in 2009. And I'll be doing it at a city near you, ChazzPalminteri.net. You want to get my merchandise, the hoodie, when Now You Can't Leave, the hoodies with one of the great ones, some great merchandise, you go to ChazzPalminteri.net. Okay, so the show today, we got one of the hottest young top comics out right now. He is tearing it up everywhere he goes, selling out, packed houses. He's Italian, so I have to say I'm a little biased. And we're going to bring him out right now. Anthony Rodia. Anthony, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Oh, man, I'm having a great time, man. And, I mean, I'm so happy for you, but you just been, like, tearing it up everywhere you go.
It's been crazy. Before the pandemic, it was kind of, getting a little popular. But when the pandemic hit, I was sitting in my basement. And I said, these people right now, you could either watch Tiger King or you can watch the news that has a rolling death clock. So I said, people need to laugh. And I started really attacking videos on social media. And I think at one point I did like 94 videos in a row every night at 7 o'clock. And people started tuning into them like a TV show.
Wow.
And it kind of grew legs and started growing on its own from there.
Right. I mean, you did that thing with the family. That's one of your great
things. So I created an uncle and then I created an aunt. Everyone thinks it's my parents, but it's the aunt character is probably 8 of my aunts put together, and the uncle character is a lot after my dad. I can't say that it's all my dad,
right?
Because people are starting to get in my father's ear, and he's starting to shake me down a little bit. He told me the other day, he goes, not for nothing, but you owe me some novelty. And I said, I'm pretty sure you mean royalties. I don't know what the hell a novelty is. And he's starting to talk to people, and he's starting to shake me down for a little bit.
He's starting to shake you down
for
money. Italians, they must shake you down.
100%.
But you know what? Let's start from the beginning here. When did you realize that you want to do stand-up?
So it must have been 2002. I was at a family party. And my cousin Marco, who ironically is the cousin that comes with me on the road a lot.
Right.
I was always a clown. I always made people laugh.
Right.
I just wanted to create. I loved making people laugh.
Right.
And I had my family laughing, and he goes, I wonder if you can make strangers laugh. I said, what the hell does that mean? He goes, I don't know if you're funny because we know what you're talking about.
You know what?
And he was right.
He's very intuitive.
Yeah.
He's very smart about
And I
that.
said, what do you mean, like stand up? And he goes, yeah, I wonder if you can get on a stage and just make people that don't know you laugh. Because now you have to come up with material that they can relate to.
Right.
And that night, we went to New York City Comedy Club for an open mic, and I jumped on stage, and the guy goes, all right, we're going to give you 6 minutes, and see how you do. I said, okay.
And you just jumped on stage?
Jumped on stage. Didn't know what the hell to do. My opening line, when I got the mic in my hand, I went, what's that? Remember the old Bud Light commercials?
Yes.
And the whole crowd was dead silent. And I go, well, that's kind of old. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But 6 minutes turned into 14, and they kept flashing this light in front of my face. I've never did stand-up.
Oh, okay.
So all of a sudden, my mic goes dead. And I go, the mic is off. And the guy from the back goes, you need to get off stage. And I said, what? He goes, we've been flashing you. I thought there was something wrong with your light.
Right.
I said, I had no idea.
Didn't know, sure.
I had no idea. So I got off, but I got, a little bit of that bug.
The bug.
And, life, kind of catches up. And I started, I had to settle down and get a career and get a job. So I didn't have the time to actually really attack it. And then I did like a couple shows when I was like 27, 28 years old. I rented out theaters, like a movie theater, and I did a show there. But 38 years old, I'm sitting in a movie theater, and I'm watching Deadpool 2 and with a buddy of mine. And I heard the whole audience laughing hysterical. And he looked at me, and he goes, you're not laughing. He goes, you're in love with Deadpool. I said, no, I know, but I said, I want to do this. And he goes, you want to be Deadpool? I go, no, you jackass. I said, I want to do comedy. I want to make people laugh. And I said, you want to manage me?
You're 38 years old.
38 years old. And he said, you serious? I said, yeah. If I can make a couple thousand extra a month, I said, it'd be good golf money. And it took off. And he asked me, he goes, how are you going to get people to know you? I said, well, you've got so many people out there, you know, like the Kardashians or whatever, that you look at it and you're like, all right, what's their talent? But what they did was they created an audience. You get an audience and you feed that audience what they want.
That's correct.
You can do whatever you want in life. And I said, I need to, you know, I'm going to attack the old school audience. And I learned from it because I thought, number one, I was one of the only ones that was raised the way I was raised. Then I thought it was just Italians.
Right.
And now I'm learning Argentinian, Portuguese, Russian, German, anybody from the old school that came from, you know, I call them, you know, off the boat,
right,
the other side. They all have the same mentality, and it kind of just blew up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. But, you know, I say that to the people out there that want to change their life. Yeah, Anthony was 38 years old, had another job doing something.
I had great money. I was supporting my family. My wife wasn't working. You know,
but you know what? He didn't care. He said he's going to be a comic, a comedian. Okay, quit his job, obviously, after a while.
Yeah, without support and approval. My whole family
like
told I was nuts.
And just like that, that was it.
Yeah, and you know, everyone's like, "Oh my God, it must have been so nice. Did you have family support?" I go, "No." I said, "My mom told me I was nuts. I came home when I quit, and my wife threatened to leave me because she said it was selfish. You have a family. You're the only one."
She threatened to leave you.
Oh, she goes, "You're the only one that works." I said, "Well, it's about time you realize that." I said, "Thank you for noticing that."
Right. Yeah.
And my father, he gives advice from both sides, so he's never able to get the blame. So I called him up. No, he called me, and he goes, "Let me ask you a question. You want to leave your job?" I said, "Yeah." "To be what? A comedian?" I said, "Yeah." "Are you stupid?" I said, "What?" He goes, "You're stupid." He goes, "That's a joke. You cannot leave to make people laugh. That's no job." I said, "So I shouldn't do it?" He goes, "Anthony, you could do anything you put your mind to." I said, "What the hell is the advice?"
What is he saying?
Am I leaving or am I not leaving?
Right,
He goes,
right.
"You do what you feel in your heart. But if you fail, don't say I don't tell you cannot do it." I'm like, what? I'm more confused before you call.
Wow, that is that's the most.
So now I'm doing it, and he tells people, my son called me one day, and I told him, "You got this." I said, "No, you didn't." That's not what you said.
He wants the novelty. That's
I said,
what
"You
it is.
said to do it, but don't do it." He goes, "Oh, I got to protect myself." I said, "You got to protect yourself." So now his main concern, we're in Florida last weekend.
Yeah.
And he got into deep thought. My father smoked marijuana for the first time. First time. I do it when I golf.
Yeah.
But he said he's got bad knees. He's got arthritis in his knees. I said, "Dad, you should try CBD."
Yeah.
I said, "Everyone's doing it. They feel better." So he smoked. We got him a little disposable pen. He smokes. 6 of us are sitting at the table, my cousins, and we have a house on the water. And all of a sudden, he gets in deep thought. And he goes, "I just thought of something." I said, "What's the matter?" "Well, how you got medical insurance?" I said, "What?" He goes, "How you got medical insurance?" I said, "What are you talking about? I pay for medical insurance."
Yeah, right.
He goes, "That's got to be expensive." I said, "What the hell made you think of medical insurance?" He goes, "Because you work for yourself." I said, "Yeah, but I pay for it." "It's expensive?" "Yeah, for the family, yeah, it's pretty expensive." He goes, "Are you healthy? Why don't you just take the risk?" I said, "So I shouldn't get medical insurance?" And then he stops. After 5 minutes, he just stops and he's staring. And I said, "Dad, you all right?" He goes, "Shh." He goes, "You don't hear that?" I said, "Hear what?" He goes, "I think I hear a dolphin." I said, "You hear a what?" He goes, "I hear the dolphin under the water." I said, "What do you hear?" He goes, My cousin looks at me and goes, "I don't want to burst your father's bubble. He thinks he's like Aquaman now that he's high on marijuana."
Right.
He goes, "It's the fan above his head creaking."
Really?
There was a ceiling fan above his head.
And he
it's
thought he
going,
heard dolphins.
He goes, "You hear it again?" And I said, "Dad, I don't know if you're allowed to smoke marijuana," but he gave me advice, and he got deep into, apparently his main worry is medical insurance.
Well, he's old school, man.
Oh, he's as old
That's
school
what they
as they
worried
come.
about: security, medical insurance,
He's as old school as they come.
retirement. You know, I mean, did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got a brother and sister. I'm the oldest. So
You're the only one in comedy, but
only one in comedy. My brother and my sister can't be any more opposite than I am. My brother's an introvert. He could stay in a room by himself and not be bothered with anybody.
right.
My sister's a school teacher. She's kind of a little bit of both. She could be by herself or be with people, but I'm the motor mouth.
Now, when you go out, I know you go out there with the other, with another great comic, Goomba Johnny.
Yeah.
He opens for you.
Yeah.
And Do you find your audience probably a lot of Italians?
Yeah, it's
a mixed.
When we started, I would say it was like 98% Italian. Now it's maybe 70-80%. It's spreading to other nationalities. Well, people come up to me and they say, "Hey, listen, I'm Portuguese and this relates," or "I'm Greek and I relate to this."
Right.
So the audience is still predominantly Italian, but it's been spreading to just old school in general. You don't have to be Italian to come to our shows. It's not just all Italian material.
Right.
You know,
but I see that. Yes.
According to my dad, he said the other day, he told somebody on the show, he goes, "I got to live another 20 years because without me, he's got nothing to talk about." I said, "It's not all about you." So it's I write my comedy based on what I think is going to relate to people. What are people going to grab onto and say that happened to me?
Right.
And I don't base it on what I think is funny, because comedy is subjective. You might laugh at something I won't even laugh at.
Right. Yeah.
So I try to relate to everybody, and so far it's been working. And Johnny is, his type of comedy, he comes with more like kind of a seasoned vet where it's a second, third generation. And I come with the old school.
I see what you're saying.
But it complements each
in your
other.
routine you do. What are some of the things that the people just go crazy? I mean, what are some of the?
I mean, I talk about everyday life. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell people right on stage, if you have soft skin and you have a clipboard in your hand ready to complain about something, the exits are behind you. Don't come into my house and get mad or or bothered by something I say. Like, I had a woman email me. And I love Johnny tells me all the time, he goes, "Leave them alone. Don't go back at them."
Right.
I can't bite my tongue. I go back at them.
Yeah,
If you attack me online, I'm going to go to your social media page and I'm going to see what you look like. And you better look like a supermodel, because I'm going to pick out every flaw.
Right.
Once you come at me, it's gloves are off.
All bets are off.
That's
right. I get you. Yeah.
So one lady emailed me months ago and she said, "I came to one of your shows and I was a little disappointed. Everyone was laughing. However, I couldn't enjoy the show because you cursed a little bit on stage. And cursing is an aggressive way of speaking. And I felt threatened sitting in the audience myself."
Oh, God. Well, why are you going to a comedy show?
So she says, "I would prefer to go to a comedy show and enjoy a comedian who doesn't curse at all, because you don't have to curse to be funny." So I went back at her, and I love making people kind of know that they should be careful what they wish for.
Right.
I said, "Bill Cosby never cursed. You really want to be in a room with Bill right now?" And I said, "You come to my show, you'll hear laughing and some cursing. You go to Bill's show, you might wake up from a nap that you weren't intending on taking." And she goes, "You're disgusting," and then stop following me.
And she stopped following.
Yeah, but people now, number one, they want to talk about negativity, and they have this thing about them where they feel the need to tell you that they're no longer going to be a fan. And I always tell them, unless you work in an airport, there's no reason to announce a departure. You just go. I'm not. I said, "I promise you, I'm never going to sit back at night and think to myself, where the hell is Barbara from Buffalo? Why hasn't she commented in the last 3 weeks?" But people get offended now easily. They take comedy as an attack.
Yeah, I had a quick story. I had in my restaurant in Baltimore, I had a person who came by, walked by me, and he was with his daughter, who was 14, and his wife. And he said to me, he goes, "The food was great, the service was great, everything was fantastic, but I'll never come back here again." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "I heard you curse when you were standing at the bar talking to somebody. My daughter heard the F word." So I said, "Look, I'm really sorry." I said, "I apologize. You know what? Let me take care of your bill. It's my restaurant."
Right.
He goes, No. I just want you to know that I will never come back here again. I just want you to know that." I said, "I really apologize. Let me take care of the bill." The young lady was right there. I said, "Dear, I'm sorry if you heard me curse." Right. And then again, he goes, "It's important that you realize that you can." And I'm giving an olive branch, and he's still working on me.
Correct.
Then finally, Anthony, to make a long story short, I said to him, "Could you do me one favor?" And he said, "What's that?" I said, "Could you tell your friends not to come here too?" I said, "Because I don't want to know anybody who knows you. Okay, because you're an asshole, and anybody who knows you, I don't want him in my restaurant."
See, I think you were too easy on him.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, I could tell.
Which word did your daughter hear? The F curse. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I would have just.
She's 14 and she never heard that word before.
But anyway. See, that's another problem with people. They act like they live in a bubble.
Right.
But you're 100% right, because anybody that's friends with that jackass is exactly like him.
I don't want anybody.
No.
Right.
And I say that a lot to people. They go, I'm no longer a fan, and I'm going to tell all my friends and family not to follow you also. And I said, I want to thank you because I was just going to ask you to do that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Oh, you got too big for your bridges.
Right,
It's gotten to your head. I said,
Right.
let me explain something. I don't care what line of business I'm in.
Right.
If you disrespect me, I'm
Right.
going to speak up. I'm not going to tuck my tail between my legs and walk
Right.
away
No, you're
just
right.
because I'm in the people business.
Right. No, you're right.
People don't understand that.
Yeah, because once you apologize, you only give into the.
They want that.
They want that.
Now you're showing weakness.
But it doesn't do anything.
No,
But
they
it
don't want
doesn't
an
do
apology.
anything.
They don't want an
Right.
apology.
So I mean, what would you say to young people who want to be comics? You would say do what you did, just get on stage and try it,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yes, I would say if you're not happy in life, complaining about it's not going to do anything. I had a job that I made great money, but I hated going to work.
Right.
I hated what I did. I was never home, and I always wanted to work for myself. And I took a shot. And at the end of the day, they're like, well, what if you would have failed at it?
Well,
I said I gave myself listen. I had a plan. I mean, I had a
Right.
small agency I was with. I was with Roger Paul at the time.
Right.
I had 6 months of shows, at least 5 shows a month. I had revenue coming in from these shows that I was making more money than I was making at work. So it seemed like a calculated decision.
I think that's a good decision.
Don't
yes.
just leave with nothing
Right,
planned.
right. You had a plan.
Correct. But you also have to be realistic. Like I tell people, I hear it all the time. If you try your hardest at something and never give up, it will always work out. I'm like, no, it won't. Not if you're not talented.
Exactly. I say that.
I'll never become a mountain climber.
And you could try forever.
I hate heights.
I will never dunk a basketball.
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you can try. Yes, I strongly
Right.
advise you to give it 150%. You have to be. Comedy to me is an addiction. It's the
Right.
only thing in life I've never gotten tired of, other than my kids. It's just an addiction. It's just an addiction.
Right.
And I'll never get tired of making people laugh. It's a passion of mine.
Right.
So yes, you have to put 150%. But I think a big thing about making it and not making it is knowing when you're not going to make it. And a lot of people are in denial because they have
Yeah.
their eyes on everybody else. So, for
Yeah.
instance, with me, I went from, nobody knowing me to what I'm doing now in 3 years, and they go, well, if he did it, I could do it. Well, you can't really look at it that way.
No, you can't.
If you have the talent
Right.
and you're doing it, trust me, you put 150%, you'll see yourself kind of rising up, and you'll see.
I always tell people that too. If you see your career going upward,
Correct.
You say, wow, okay, so I'm on the right track. Let's keep doing this, working harder. Now, if you see after 5 years you're still doing open mics,
Correct.
maybe it's not for you.
I have a book and I have goals every 6 months. So whether it's revenue that I'm making, whether
Right.
it's shows that I'm selling, whether it's people capacity that I'm bringing in,
Right.
I have a book. I'm like, okay, well, the first time I was in, like, for instance, Chicago, I brought 350 people to a show.
Right.
The next year I went back, I wanted to double it, and we did.
And you did.
And the next time I went
Right.
back, I wanted to double. So you have to have goals, and if you're not hitting those goals,
Right.
especially 6-month goals,
Right.
then something's wrong. You need to either change something, or you need to come to the realization that, you know what, maybe I'm funny, but I'm not funny enough to have this as a career.
As a career. I see what you're saying, yeah.
And I tell people, don't try to be a mainstream comic.
Right.
Find out what your niche is.
Right.
And attack that niche.
Right.
And then it'll spread by itself. People want to make everyone laugh. You can't have a whole crowd.
Right.
You have to have a particular base. Feed that base. That base will tell people about you. And then little by little, because like I said, we only had Italian, fans
Right.
coming, and now it's kind of everybody coming
Now
to
it's
the
everybody.
shows. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, do you find that life on the road is different than life on the East Coast? When you guys do your bits there, does it change a little bit?
No, we're surprised. We went to Arizona, and Johnny will tell you. I mean, Arizona, we didn't know what to expect.
A lot of Italians in Arizona.
A lot
of Italians.
We didn't know what to expect because it was our first venture out west.
Right.
And the shows were sold out. We did 3 packed shows at the Improv in Tempe, and the crowds were one of our best crowds that we've ever had.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's what shocks me now, and I think it's a lot to do with the pandemic, is how different every state is that you go to. You go to one state, everyone's wrapped up with masks. You go to Florida, and it's like they never even had a pandemic.
Wow.
And we went to Texas. We went to Austin. Austin was very different.
Very different, yeah.
So life on the road is different, but in the sense of the fans, we have a strong fan base, man. They just come to laugh and have a good time. And where we least expect our fan base to be, I mean, in places that we never expect, those are some of the best fans.
Well, the beauty about your podcast, I have to tell you guys, he has a great podcast.
Thank you.
Really, just really funny, insightful, laughs. And if you get a chance, and I'm telling my fans out there, if you never saw Anthony Rodia's podcast. You got to tune in because it's really fabulous. And you'll get to, and they can see their dates, where you're going to be and everything on the podcast.
Yeah, we announced the month's coming. It's on every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. It's called A Little Bit of Laughs. And then if you don't see it live on Facebook, you can watch the reruns or you can listen to it on iTunes.
I recommend this podcast highly. It's really, really fantastic. Now, being on the road a lot. You guys on the road a lot, Anthony?
Yeah.
A lot, right?
I was on the road just now for 8 days in Florida. We
8
had,
days in Florida.
7 shows in 5 days.
The thing about Florida is wide open.
Wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah.
When you do Austin, it's a little with the mask, right?
Austin, no, it wasn't really. I don't think the restrictions were there. It's
Right.
just, it was different. But, you go to places like, obviously, Jersey just started lifting stuff, but they were pretty strict. I mean,
Right.
New York is New York. I mean, they have all the restrictions. But, it's definitely different. You go to Florida, you wouldn't even think you're in a pandemic.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if it's they don't care or they're just over it, but I mean,
It's over. Yeah.
and listen,
it's over.
everyone's like, oh, you're going out in a super spreader state. They're like, don't bring anything back to New York. I'm
Right.
like what? A bag of oranges and freedom?
Right.
I say, I'll bring some freedom back. I'll spread it out.
How about freedom? Right.
It's crazy. And listen, everyone's been such at each other's throats over this.
Yeah.
Number one, you have everyone that thinks they're a medical doctor.
Right.
You have everyone that thinks they're an expert. At the end of the day, I'm old school.
Right. What'd your father think of the pandemic?
He can't stand it.
He can't
He's like,
stand
why
it.
doesn't anybody know how to mind their business? You
Is that
know?
what-
Yeah, just mind your business. You do what you want to do. I do what I want to do, and that's it. And he got the vaccine.
He did.
He got the vaccine. I didn't because I had the virus, but he
Right.
got it because he's got diabetes and he was a little nervous with
Sure.
his age. But it's confusing to him. My father will watch the news, and I tell everybody this: he'll retain 15% and make up the other 85. Just make it up.
Make it up.
He called me in a panic because he was watching the news, and he goes, "I got a problem." And I said, "What's the matter?" He goes, "I think I got a side infection from a Johnson." I said, "What the hell is a side infection?" I said, "Where can I get some infection on the side?" And he goes, "Oh, I think I got something wrong." I said, "You don't have anything from Johnson." He goes, "Yes, I do. I know my body." I said, "You got the Moderna. You don't have Johnson in you. How do you have a side infection?"
Yeah, right.
And he got the Moderna because he thought it was Italian. He said to me, he goes, "I'm ready to get the vaccine because I want to get the Italian one." I said, "Which one?" He goes, "The Madonna." It's not called Madonna. It's Moderna. It's not Italian.
He thought Madonna or something.
He was telling all his friends, "I got the Italian vaccine. It's
Right,
much
right,
better."
right.
I said, "Yeah, you got the Italian vaccine. It was dipped in cannoli oil and Crisco." He's just out of his mind.
Wow.
But he thinks he's tired of all the back and forth. He sees I argue a lot with people because I don't tell anybody what to do, but I do stand firm on my
what you
opinion.
do.
On my
Yeah,
opinion.
on your belief. There's nothing wrong with that.
What makes me laugh is people say, like I say, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. Because
Right.
that's what I care about, me and my family. Whatever's best for them and whatever I think is best for them, that's what I'm going to do. You do what's best for you and your family. Well, your decision affects me. And I said, how? Well, you're not getting vaccinated. I said, are you? Yeah. Well, then aren't you protected from me? That's like calling me up and I'm in
Right,
the car by
right,
myself.
right.
And you go, "Hey, Aunt, it's Chazz." I go, "What's up?" He goes, "You wearing your seatbelt?" I go, "No." "Can you put it on? Can you put it on so I don't get hurt?"
Right,
I go,
right.
"Chazz, you're not in the car with me."
Right.
And as ridiculous
That's
as that sounds.
interesting. Yes, that's a
but
very good point.
and people just can't, and the same people that are saying, "Well, I'm doing this for the world. I'm doing this to
Yes.
help my fellow neighbor." I'm like, what have you done before this for your fellow neighbor?
Right,
You're such a
right.
humanitarian now. You're looking out for humanity. So it's crazy.
See, the problem with the internet is it's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad. You have all these people who would never be heard in their whole life.
Correct.
Now, all of a sudden, they have this platform that millions of people could read what they say. They have an attitude and it's most of the internet, if you look at it, is negative. It's
100%.
always
Negativity sells.
negativity.
Think about it. If you see two
Yes.
people on the side of the road hugging, no one's stopping.
No one's
if you see a 5-car pileup,
You
everybody's
stop.
going to see if someone died.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
twisted when you think about it.
Negativity sells. So
Yeah.
that's a very good point. But it's like, hey, man, it's like all of a sudden a person who's an asshole will never be heard of. Now that they got this platform,
Right.
they just become bigger assholes.
Well, I always said when I was younger, if you were someone that wasn't tough and you wanted to become tough, you take steroids.
Right,
You hit the weights.
Right.
You become a little bigger.
Right.
Now you can be an asshole.
right.
Now all you need is a keyboard.
All you need is a keyboard.
You get a keyboard, you can be the
Right.
biggest asshole. No one knows who you are. And I don't know what it is. And to all the cat lovers out there, I apologize if this offends you. But I've noticed that every time I get a comment, 90% of the time, I get a comment of someone that was offended by something I said. You go to their profile picture, it's a cat. I don't know if it's cat lovers are sensitive in general. I'm a dog lover. I got tough skin. I don't know if there's a correlation.
Wow.
But I mean, listen,
I didn't think of that.
I'm telling you, 90% of I'll call John up. It's either a cat or it's like a muscle car. And it's not even a car. It's like a picture of a Mustang. That's their profile picture.
Wow.
And I don't know what it is. It's just every time. I'm like, oh, look, a Mustang, and the other lady had a cat. And it's not even a cat. I don't know if that's a symbol.
Well, cats are very independent, and usually people who get them are very independent. I'm a dog person myself.
I'm a dog lover.
I had 4 dogs at one time.
Yeah, I'm a dog lover. And maybe, I mean, and then I look at my friends that are dog lovers versus my friends that are cat lovers, and the cat lovers are a little more sensitive than the dog lovers. So I don't know if there's a connection there. It'd be amazing if we do like a medical study on that.
You know, they should do a study. You know what? Any cat lovers out there, watch. I want you to see his podcast, Anthony Rodia. And if you're a cat lover, say, I'm a cat lover, but I still love your podcast.
Right. You know, I would love
that?
I would love to get more cat lover fans.
How about that? You know, a cat lover, and I still love your podcast.
I'm a cat lover, and I have tough skin.
And I have tough skin.
Yeah.
You know, they should do a something on that. Really, I never realized that.
I guarantee you, if they did a medical study, people that own cats, not all of them, but a lot of them are a little more kind of touchy than dog lovers.
No offense to the cat lovers out there.
No offense at all, but think about a dog. A dog comes in, you come in the house, a dog jumps on you.
Loves to see you.
A cat doesn't give a shit that you're at home. They're just walking around, doing their own thing.
He doesn't even care.
No, he doesn't even need you to go to the bathroom. He's got a litter box.
Right.
He's on his own. Doesn't care about you. The dog jumps on you. He shows affection. He shows love.
Right. Now, how did when you were growing up, how did your mother and father, your aunts or whatever, these great characters that you do, how did they feel about animals? Did they have animals in the house?
My father had Doberman Pinschers.
You had a Doberman Pinscher?
He had 4 of them at one point.
Well, that's pretty, that's pretty, advanced at that time.
He had 4 Dobermans. If you weren't Italian and you came to my house, you would think there was something wrong because the names he had, the first one was Rocky, the second one was Sheila, and then it just went downhill from there. We had a Doberman Pinscher called Bacala. We had a Doberman Pinscher called Rigatoni. We had a Doberman Pinscher named Parmigiano.
Come on.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah, he called the dogs at one point, and you were starving. He's like, come on, Rigatoni Parmigiano. And I'm like, Dad, seriously, just like, can you just regular name?
Regular
But
name.
yeah, he had 4 or 5 of them at one point.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we always had a dog growing up.
You always had a dog growing up.
Yeah, my uncles.
Wow.
I mean, my grandfather had a dog. They always loved it. Nobody had cats. I think my mother had a Persian at one point.
I didn't know one person in my neighborhood who had a cat.
No, my mom. My mom had a Persian.
Your mom
at
had
one
a cat?
point. I hated it. I hated this cat.
Wow.
Yeah, it just I said why, and I think she just wanted to be different.
So she had a Persian with the 4 Dobermans?
No, not at the time.
Not at the time.
That wouldn't have worked out.
Wow.
We would have found that cat somewhere. That wouldn't have worked out. That was
would have
after
worked
the
out
Dobermans.
pretty well. So when you guys travel all over the country, where do you guys? I mean, so you enjoyed. Obviously, I know you did Staten Island. You did the historic St. George Theater, right?
Yeah, that was an awesome.
That must have been. You guys almost sold the place out.
That's our fan base right there.
That's your fan base with Staten Island.
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference between Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, or all the same?
I think our strongest base, Staten Island, New York, obviously, all parts of New York, Jersey. We have, people come out of the wood. We sell every single show out in New Jersey, no matter if we do it 10 miles away or 100 miles away. New Jersey is one of our strongest fan bases.
Wow.
Florida, because you have a lot of Northeast. But again, we're going out to California in March. We're going to be in Irvine, San Jose, Oxnard, and Tempe, Arizona. And I'm getting messages like crazy, and they're excited to have us come out there. I don't know if it's because we're bringing kind of East Coast flavor out there, or I think people are just, my opinion, people are just sick and tired of everyone sugarcoating everything.
You know what, Anthony? What I always say, Jackie Gleason, I'll never forget who I loved, Jackie Gleason. They said, why is the Honeymooners? I don't know if you're a fan of the Honeymooners.
Diehard fan of Honeymooners.
I'm a diehard fan of Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners. They said after 70 years, why is the show so fun? So people still watch it. And he just looked at the guy and he said, it's funny.
Right.
And funny's funny.
Funny's funny. When you try to sugarcoat or kind of dilute funny, that like they have like shows right now, where they're doing woke comedy, where the comedy show is designed to be funny without being offensive to the audience. That sounds like nap time. I'm I want to be you.
Yeah.
I want like my thing is you can push the envelope and be a little edgy and keep everything tasteful, but why would you want to dilute comedy? Comedy to me, everyone asks me all the time, what do you think comedy is? And I say, well, the reason why I get mad when people try to say comedy is offensive is because comedy should be an escape from reality.
Right.
Whatever you're going through in life, you should go to a comedy show and not think of any of the negativity and just laugh.
Right.
It shouldn't be an attack. And when I started doing this full time, I'm very close with my fans. I stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes responding to emails and messages. And, you know, sometimes I get emotional because you get these messages from people where I always knew comedy was helpful. I never knew how strong or how important it was.
Right.
I get messages, hey, my mom had terminal cancer, recently passed away, but you're the only thing that made her laugh. Or, you know, we lost so-and-so, or I'm sick, and I watched you in the hospital for 3 weeks. You kept me going. Or, you know, what they say to us now.
It's great to see that.
Your videos kept me going during the pandemic. So when I see someone that doesn't understand comedy and they're dissecting it and they call it offensive, well, it's offensive to you because you don't understand it.
Right.
Stop trying to steer everyone else away from it because you don't know how badly somebody needs comedy. And that's what pisses me off, when people try to ruin something for someone else.
Well, if you look at some of the great comics, like Don Rickles, I mean, if he was coming up today, he couldn't, you could never do
Don
his act.
Rickles, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor,
Yes.
you know, Rodney Dangerfield, the show All in the Family.
All in the Family
I'm like,
would
come on.
never get on.
No, and it's comedy.
And it's hysterical.
Listen,
All in the Family.
I'll admit it, I'm a little cynical when it comes to comedy. I like somewhat of dark comedy.
Yeah.
But because I tell everybody, a lot of my old school fans, they're not offended because most of us saw more traumatizing stuff at home.
Yes.
You know, I was 7 years old. I walked into the garage Easter morning. I saw a goat hanging upside down. My uncle and my father were killing it. I said, I heard that noise for 6 months in my sleep. I would wake up to and I'm traumatized. You're telling me now, after seeing that as a 6-year-old, Pepe Le Pew is going to offend me on a cartoon or the show Cops?
Oh, the
so
show Cops. Right.
you could call it dysfunctional, but I think the way we were raised, you know, I was raised with a big Italian family, a lot of ball breaking. That toughened
we lived on ball breaking.
Exactly. That toughened up my skin.
That tough. Yes.
Where now it's like, you can't offend me. You could say whatever you want. You can't. People ask me all the time. They write me. They go, "Why are you so mean to Goomba Johnny? Have respect. He's older than you." I said, Goomba Johnny's fine. No, you're mean to him. We watch his facial expressions. He's upset. He's deeply saddened. I go, he's got sciatica. He's fine. That's not me doing that. His ass hurts. Right. And they're offended for him. And I'm like, Johnny's fine. Johnny has tough skin.
We grew up breaking balls.
100%.
So if you had a big nose, they call you Johnny Big Nose.
Correct.
If he had a son with a big nose, they call him Johnny Little Nose.
My cousins always told me that if I put a hoop around my head, I look like Jupiter. Because I got a big head. It was fine. I got a big head.
You got a big head.
They're not mean about it. They're not lying to me.
Exactly. So when you grow up with constant ball breaking, like we all did, that you grow up and you're not offended by things.
No.
You know, today, these young kids, well, it started from basketball, you know, when they played Little League, no score, no balls and strikes. You know, and even Bill Gates, who's, you know, very woke, said, you can't do that to kids.
You need competition.
They have to grow up with competition.
Correct.
They have to grow up with failure. They lost. Somebody won.
Right.
Because if you don't, you create these. That's what we have now. A lot of these monsters who don't know what being, what defeat is like.
No, and you know what? If I didn't have the risk of failing when I quit my job, I don't know if I'd appreciate what I do so much. I feel blessed every day I wake up because I know how hard it is to get to where if everybody could do this, they would.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think when these kids don't grow up with any competition, they're, number one, they're not going to try as hard as they would.
Absolutely.
Because if there's no finish line, there's no first place. Right. You know, then there's no effort.
Right.
And you know, when you give a kid a trophy just for participating, it takes that element of competition away.
Then exactly. The guy who won, what's the big deal about his trophy?
You're going to have a generation of a bunch of lazy assholes that don't want to give a damn about anything because they don't. There's no reward to their effort.
Right.
Like in California, I saw a couple months back, they had a Little League soccer team. They don't use a ball. It's a soccer league for little kids with no ball. You got a bunch of these kids running around kicking nothing. And I'm like, well, who's the real idiot? These poor kids or the parents that are cheering? Oh, go Timmy, good goal. What
no ball.
No ball. Playing soccer with no ball.
No ball, folks. I can't even comment on that one.
No ball. Soccer with no ball.
Soccer with no ball.
Imagine my uncle's playing bocce ball with no ball, just sitting there like this all day. Going, am I close? I don't know. There's no ball. And that's where we're at. And it's got this, the pendulum has to swing the other way.
I hope the pendulum swings back.
Because right now it's, I mean, I saw a girl walking in the street the other day and I had to stop her. She had a shirt on that said, "Be nice to me, it's the law." And then when she walked by, I laughed. I go, "What law?" And she goes, "What?" I said, "Be nice to me, it's the law?" I said, "Listen, you got to realize, how old are you?" She goes, 18. I go, "World's not rainbows and butterflies."
No, it's not.
I said, "There's a lot of assholes out there, and they're assholes in every group of life."
Right.
I said, "You need to worry about you, and that's it. But there's no law to being nice. I can give you the finger right now. You're not calling the cops out."
Yeah, how about just be nice with yourself and
That's
other people,
just,
and people will be nice to
listen,
you.
My parents taught me, respect everybody that shakes your hand. Look them in the eye. Treat them with respect. And if they disrespect you, based on the certain extent of disrespect, then you take care of it from there. You want to disrespect them back, you do. You want to walk away, but treat everybody with respect no matter what.
Well, Anthony Rodia, I respect you a great deal. It's amazing.
I appreciate that.
38 years old, turned his life around, folks.
Yeah.
You know, when we do comedy, when we talk about things on my show, a lot of it has to do with, you know, serving people who give service to people who want to change their life. This man at 38 years old, married, okay, said, and making a living, said, "I want to do comedy," and did it. Why? Determination. Very talented, but determination first. Sometimes, like the turtle, he only makes progress by sticking his neck out.
Right.
The bigger the risk, the bigger their reward. So if you have a dream, like Anthony had, 38 years old, turned his life around, one of the hottest comics out today, doing fantastic. If you get a chance to see him, you must go and see him. Sometimes he's with Goomba Johnny. Both of them together, great. If you just see him alone, great. So where can people see you, Anthony?
I mean, we're going to be at Terrytown Music Hall in March. We just added a second show, but you can go to rodiacomedy.com, and my whole schedule is there. Rodiacomedy.com.
Rodiacomedy.com.
Yeah, or Rodia Comedy on all social media, and I have always my schedules on there. So
they could see you, and really fantastic show. I've seen his show, tears the house down. You got to go see it. Anthony,
appreciate
you're a gentleman, a scholar.
And I'm a little upset.
What's that?
I wanted you to lock the door and tell me I can't leave.
You know, everybody says that.
It's one of the best lines in the world.
Everybody always says to me, "Chazz, just say it once. Now you just can't leave." Well, Anthony, I got to say to you, now you just can't leave because you got to be on the show again.
Absolutely.
God
100%.
bless you all. I appreciate everything you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's the end. And we'll see you next Monday at 11 o'clock.